It is early friggin' Monday morning. So I got my new crankshaft seal or rear main seal here. I got the old one out. Frig was out of pain. In the instructions they call for you to drill a couple holes and use a slide hammer to pull it out, and then yeah, but it wasn't working for me. I tried pounding it out from the back side, it wasn't working, so I flipped her over and pounded it from the front side, and Bob's your uncle. So this is a dry seal, so I gotta brake clean the friggin' crankshaft off and make sure it's all clean and stuff, and then install it. And it's got this plastic ring on it with friggin' bit of a lip onto it. It's bigger inner diameter on the side this side. And yeah, you're supposed to slide this onto the crankshaft and then friggin' wiggle the guy on and then pull the plastic ring out. And yeah, I'm actually just thinking about this here. I don't know if that's gonna make much sense. This has got to go in that way. But yeah, I don't know. I guess when I pound the friggin' guy onto it, with this guy, the ring will just fall out the front or the back side. So I don't know. I was kind of worried about it, but I guess it's what the instructions say to do. So I guess I'm not worried about it. Yeah. Anyways, I'll get underneath the truck and friggin' start installing this guy. And as soon as it's installed, then I can start slapping everything back together. Yeah, it's gonna be a long friggin' day. I gotta rebuild a chunk of the exhaust. Yeah, I got a lot to do. Well, I guess I give you two seals in this kit for the aluminum piece that bolts onto the block. Mine was the red one. Mine didn't have this hole or that little lip thing there, so I'm not sure what vehicle that one's for. It's probably might be a freaking 12 valve, who knows. But anyways, I got the rear main seal installed into the truck, and now I'm working on this. I got that plate installed, I got that plug, whatever the frig it does, installed, and now I'm ready to put this in. Yeah. So rear main seal is installed. For torquing that thing down, it started at that bolt, then went to that one, then to that one, that one, that one, and that one. And I just went around and around and around until they were all snug. So now I'll get that back adapter plate bolted on, get the starter put back in. Starter guys right there. And then, yeah, we're friggin' laughing. Not really, but yeah. Okay, well I got this guy all torqued down now. I did a friggin' crisscross pattern from the inside out. And I torqued it to 100 pounds. I don't know if that's right or not, but yeah, it should do, because the crankshaft torques down to 101 pounds. So I figure, hey, with the frig, those are probably just as important. So, and it's not like it's threading into aluminum, it's threading into the friggin' block, which is cast iron. So that'll do. I guess I'll get the flywheel. Why not? No, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. Flywheel won't be in the way of the starter, so yeah, flywheel time. Okay, so I got the new guy bolted in, but it's not torqued. I'm having a hell of a time trying to torque it. I'll get to, that doesn't feel tight really at all. And then it friggin' starts spinning. What the frig? So I'm gonna have to figure something out. There is a special tool for that plug that I put in there. You just stick it in there and then it'll lock the flywheel in place. So I haven't got that, so I'm gonna have to improvise. Well, that's what I'm doing. Found a piece of strapping and bolted it to the adapter, and I bolted it to the flywheel, so that'll keep it from moving. Friggin' love YouTube. So now I can get these guys torqued. And then I threaded the bolt into the adapter housing in until it was just about flush with that, so that'll keep the stress to a minimum. So anyways, I'll go ahead and torque these now. 101 foot-pounds. Well, you guys remember this washer thing that was in with the pilot bearing, right? Well, if you flip it over, that's what it's for. So, friggin' rip that guy out. Can't see it too well, but that guy will pull it out, put this washer on, and zip her back down, and then ready to put the pilot bearing on. I've already got it installed. What I'm going to do is grease the frig out of it. There's that recessed bit in there. You can see it right in here. You can feel it definitely. Fill that with grease. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. So yeah, I'll get to installing this guy, and then we'll do that guy. So it's a 19 mil or a 3/4. They say install it alongside the stock washer, so slide her onto the back or the front, whatever you prefer, and then wind her back in. So I think I'm gonna maybe put a little bit of grease in there, because there's grease on this. I just cleaned it all up and it'll friggin' help it pivot and stuff better. So back in you go, and then you can go into. Okay, well I cleaned that out, got new grease on that, and then I lubed the frig out of this. So you want that gap in there to be all completely sealed with grease. So yeah, I'll install that, and then I'll friggin' clean up the shaft, see if it needs any friggin' repairs. I see a bunch of friggin' marks on it, so I don't know. That had a bit of scoring on it, so I just took a what was it, 120 grit emery cloth and just went at it until it was smooth. So yeah, I'll get this installed, and Bob's your uncle. Alright, well it doesn't look too bad. I can't feel anything with my nail, so that's okay. Now I'll friggin' put a little bit of grease on that, and then stuff her in once I get that far. But yeah, so I got the pilot bearing installed. Throw a little bit of grease in that, and then we'll be ready to friggin' rock. Yeah, so I guess I'll wind all these bolts out and get ready for the pressure plate and clutch disc. And I'm gonna give this surface a good wipe with some brake clean, just in case I touched it with my friggin' oily, greasy or frig fingers. Don't want any contamination on this if we can help it. So I'll get these out and get ready for install of the clutch. Yeah, it's just a little bit of brake clean and friggin' giving her a good little wipe. So definitely give her a wipe before you install stuff. Nice and clean now. If you guys are doing this by yourself, I highly suggest you work out for about maybe a month before you try to start this. You need upper body strength for sure. It was friggin' harder as frig holding that thing up and trying to get a bolt in. But so I got her all the bolts in. They're not tight or anything yet. Make sure you go ahead and put in your centering tool. It'll thread into, or the spline tool or whatever. It'll friggin' go into the clutch, and then make sure you wiggle it around until it goes inside the pilot bearing. Then you can tighten it. And when you're tightening this, go around evenly, maybe even crisscross it like you do when you're tightening or torquing up a tire. That little paper there basically just warns you to make sure all the fingers are level before you friggin' put the tranny in. So if you don't, and you got a problem. So I'll go ahead and start winding all the bolts in, and then torque them to 21 or 28 foot-pounds of torque. I can't remember. So I'll just roll with it. But yeah, so I'll friggin' get to it. Okay, so all the bolts are tight now. Fingers are nice and level. Friggin' rights they are. So now, I guess it's time to wheel the tranny over and freaking get that stove back in. Oh, no, I'll do the starter. I'll do the starter and then I'll wheel the tranny over, because that guy's not light. And I don't want to freaking fight around it, so starter, then tranny. Yeah. Well guys, that was a freaking hour wasted. When you're putting the starter in, make sure the cable is on the bottom and the starter motor is against the frame, because this thing will go in at different angles, which I just found out the hard way. I got the bottom 2 bolts in, I tried getting the top one in, and it was like, holy frig. Wasn't going. So then I tried taking the starter off, and all the bolts got really tight, and I had to friggin' use a wrench, and it was just a freaking nightmare. So good hour, maybe an hour and a half wasted. So just learn from my mistakes. So it's friggin' just about lunchtime now, and dare I say it, I think I'm ready to put the tranny back on. So I might have a quick intermission because my back's freaking sore as frig now from standing right there for, well, over an hour. Yeah, but it's just finally coming along, making progress. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go home, get some lunch, and come back and freaking finish her up. There's still a lot to do. I still gotta build that chunk of exhaust, for frig's sakes. So maybe I've got a piece of 5-inch like this with the friggin' nubbin on the end of it, so I could just stove it onto itself. But if I don't, I'm friggin' not sure what to do. But yeah, lunchtime. Well guys, transmission is back in. I got the clutch slave cylinder put back in. And now I'm just friggin' trying to figure out what to do next. I'm gonna probably get the Crossmember in, and then start working on plugging everything back in. I got all those vacuum lines and whatnot on the top, shifter linkage, and then exhaust. Yeah, frig, I am just bagged. Trying to get this thing in was a struggle. I propped the front of the engine up with a stick underneath the oil pan, and it worked pretty good, but it wasn't quite angled enough, so I had to like hang off the back of this while pushing it in, and then I finally got it in enough, and I was turning. I put this thing into 4-wheel drive, and I was spinning the rear or the front output shaft, and then I could feel when the splines lined up. So then I hung off the back and was pushing it in, and I got it in just enough to get a couple bolts in, and then I just wound those bolts in a tiny bit at a time until I could get more in, and then I friggin' worked my way around it, and now she's friggin' in, she's tight, and she's friggin' just about there. I'm so tired. I don't ever want to do this again. So yeah, I guess I'll get that Crossmember put in, and then yeah, go from there. Well guys, I got the bottom Crossmember going on. Broke one of the bolts. Luckily I found a replacement, so don't do them up ridiculously tight. It doesn't need it. So now I'm just gonna lift up the training T-case and get that stand out from underneath it, and then I will proceed to tighten up the mount and then finish up all the freaking wiring and whatnot that I gotta do. So there. And this guy. I hate winding this thing out too much because then it'll freaking fall down and jam, and then you gotta use a hammer to freaking get it back out. So anyways, yeah, she's coming along pretty freaking good. So now when I drop this, it should go right into right there. Perfect. There we friggin' go. I'm slowly making progress, for frig's sakes. Yeah, this thing is a lifesaver. I wouldn't have even tried to do it myself if I didn't have one of these. So that guy can go over there, and now I hope I got enough room to friggin' put those vacuum lines on. Yeah, lots of room. Can't even see. Oh, beg my pardon. I'll get her done. Well guys, before I get too carried away, I got my new piece of exhaust run. I had to disconnect the front. I had that hung. I don't remember where I left off. But yeah, I had the front down pipe all bolted in, ready to go, and then I was like, oh frig, I have to get this pipe in, so I had to drop it again, and then wiggle this piece in. I've got it stoved in there. It's a little bit of a leak there, so I'll have to get another 5-inch band clamp. But what I did is I just butted it up against, I butted this pipe up against my custom pipe, or my adapter 3 to 5 inch, and you can kind of see that little lip that's sticking out underneath this adapter right up top there. That is a piece of pipe that I had to cut about a 1-inch slot out of, or cut a 1-inch band of it, like, and then I cut it in half like that, and wrapped it around that pipe. It doesn't leak, surprisingly, but that's how I did that. I'm gonna have to put a clamp on here, but yeah, she's coming along pretty good. I had to do a bunch of adjusting on my PTO drive. It did not work before, and I figured out why. They had it so that when it was pressed down in the cab, it was friggin' like, what was it? It was like this, so when you pushed or pulled on it, I don't know, it didn't engage. So I fixed that, I got it engaging now, and it spins freaking quick. But yeah, I want to run an air compressor off that, so I'll have to figure out how to friggin', oh. Okay, note to self, don't start engine with friggin' stuff not connected. I'll have to tighten that boot back down, but yeah, she's coming along pretty good. I got the front drive shaft put back in somewhat. I gotta still put the friggin' end in the yoke, but I'm gonna have to take it out again to replace these U-joints, but not right now, I don't have time. And then I gotta reattach the rear drive shaft, and that's gonna be fun. And then one cross member, and then the skid plate, and then I think I'm done. I friggin' hope I'm done. I am so tired. But it's just coming along pretty good. Coming along pretty good. Yep, you're next. Well guys, dare I say it, I think I'm done. Friggin' right, I am so happy this is done. I got all my vacuum lines reconnected. I got everything. Oh, no, I'm not done. Oh, close. I gotta friggin' reassemble the top shifter and stuff like that. Oh, look, you can tell. But I like this. That's friggin' cool. Just cleans it up a little bit, makes it look a little nicer. But yeah, so I gotta friggin' chase down a few leaks. I'm thinking it's the power steering box. Frig sakes. But yeah, I'll just friggin' tie these friggin' things up properly again, and then head up top and finish her off. Just about done. Well guys, I got it all buttoned back up again. I soaked this thing down a couple days ago and pressure washed the frig out of it, and it came out so much freaking better. It is like really clean now. Look, you can tell. So yeah, I'm freaking done now. I got to clean up my mess because it's a big one. Holy crap, just about fell off the freaking hoist. And yeah, I'll clean up my mess and then go for a test drive and see how she does. I gotta be gentle with this clutch right now. She needs to break in. Yeah. Well guys, it's been a long friggin' day. Well, a long couple days actually, but she's done now. Took her for a little test drive and she friggin' grips hard. But I gotta do the 300 or 400 mile braking period, so I'm guessing probably 500K should be okay. But and then I'll get to romp on her again. So anyways, thanks for watching guys, and until next time, take care. I need to wash.